If you are planning to spend six figures on a vehicle this year, drop everything. The luxury market has shifted dramatically. What used to buy you bulletproof prestige now often just buys you an overpriced rolling computer with a screen that will glitch before your first oil change. Today, we are breaking down the absolute best luxury cars to buy in 2026. We aren't looking at generic spec sheets. We are ranking these based on three strict metrics: real-world cabin isolation, structural reliability, and residual value retention. Because true luxury isn't just about showing off, it's about making a smart investment. Let's start with the baseline of pure execution. If you need a daily driver that balances performance with absolute corporate presence, the standard has evolved. While most brands went all in on fragile hyperscreens that age terribly, certain manufacturers doubled down on tactile, analog-feeling luxury materials wrapped around cutting-edge hybrid powertrains. But what if you want to rule the road from a higher vantage point? The luxury SUV segment in 2026 is hyper-competitive, but one vehicle stands completely isolated at the top. Most buyers make the fatal mistake of choosing raw horsepower over ride frequency. This vehicle utilizes a predictive suspension system that scans the road 500 times per second using optical cameras. It doesn't just absorb bumps, it erases them. If you are looking for the ultimate combination of off-road capability and executive lounge comfort, this is the benchmark. Finally, we enter the stratosphere. For those where budget is not a variable, the best luxury car to buy in 2026 isn't a mass-produced vehicle, it's a rolling sanctuary. At this level, you aren't paying for transportation, you are paying for absolute isolation from the outside world. With over 100 pounds of sound-deadening material packed into the acoustic core alone, the cabin noise floor drops to a near-silent 38 decibels at highway speeds. It is quite literally a private jet for the asphalt. So, what's the final verdict? If you want the smartest financial return on an executive daily, choose option A. If you want unmatched commanding presence and utility, the Ultra SUV is your king. But if you demand absolute, uncompromising perfection, only the Luxury View Auto tier will satisfy. Do you agree with our 2026 rankings, or did we leave your favorite model off the list? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read and reply to every single one. Now start first. Cullinan Series 2 vs Range Rover SV, head-to-head. If you think $250,000 Range Rover SV and $500,000 Rolls-Royce Cullinan are competing for the same buyer, you are completely wrong. One of these is the absolute pinnacle of automotive engineering. The other is a rolling sovereign state. But in 2026, as Range Rover pushes deeper into ultra-luxury territory, the gap between wealthy and untouchable has blurred. Today, we are stripping away the exterior hype to look at what actually matters: the interior opulence, the material integrity, and the ultimate street prestige. Which cabin is actually worth the price of a literal house? Let's find out. Let's start inside the Range Rover SV. Land Rover's special vehicle operations didn't just add nicer leather here, they completely re-engineered the sensory experience. Look at the center console. Those smooth, cool white accents aren't plastic, and they aren't painted metal. They are solid, cool-to-the-touch engineered ceramics, a material usually reserved for luxury watch faces. From a pure technology standpoint, the SV completely dominates. Its floating 13.1-inch curved glass screen runs a highly responsive interface that makes the Rolls-Royce system look like it belongs in the last decade. But, that reliance on tech introduces a major flaw, and that brings us to the Cullinan Series 2. While the Range Rover hides behind digital screens, Rolls-Royce double downs on mechanical theater. Look at the dashboard. You still control the climate vents using solid metal organ-stop plungers that click with a heavy, satisfying mechanical resistance. Underneath the glass on the passenger side, Goodwood has installed a miniature, illuminated Spirit of Ecstasy figurine inside her own glass display case. It took engineers 4 years to develop just this dashboard cabinet. That is the difference. Range Rover gives you great software, Rolls-Royce gives you timeless art. Or the Series 2, the leather craft is mind-boggling. They offer placed perforations, a technique where craftspeople punch up to 107,000 tiny holes into the leather to create an abstract pattern mimicking the shifting clouds over Goodwood, England. When you sit down, Your feet sink into 2 inches of pure lamb's wool rug. It doesn't feel like a car cabin, it feels like the lobby of a historic 5-star hotel. So, let's talk about the prestige paradox. The Range Rover SV is arguably the more usable, modern, and structurally advanced daily driver. It uses active noise-canceling speakers built directly into the headrests to cancel out the highway, but the Cullinan doesn't use speakers to fake silence. It achieves dead quiet through pure, uncompromising mass, over 100 pounds of physical sound-deadening material stuffed into the frame. The ultimate verdict comes down to how you want to be perceived. The Range Rover SV says you are highly successful, intelligent, and value understated modern design. But the Rolls-Royce Cullinan Series 2 states you have achieved a level of wealth where standard automotive rules simply no longer apply to you. If you want the absolute best luxury SUV money can buy, get the Range Rover. But if you want to buy something that transcends being a car entirely, there is only one R. Which interior would you rather spend a 4-hour road trip in? Let me know in the comments below.